Well, today I am just about jumping out of my seat with excitement for what we'll be discussing on the Conscious Life News New Mind Body Spirit Summit. I'm excited about the topic we'll be delving into today, and that's intuition, the sixth sense. But I'm even more excited about the person who's joining us on our call today to talk about the sixth sense, and that's none other than Sonia Choquette. Most of you know that her name is synonymous with the sixth sense because this is her life's work to show us all how to engage with the sixth sense and make it a part of our everyday lives. And she's done this so successfully. Sonia is a globally celebrated and dynamic spiritual teacher, sixth sensory consultant, enchanting storyteller, and transformational visionary guide. She's known for her delightful humor and skill in quickly shifting people out of difficulty and into flow. She is the author of 19, that's 19, international best-selling books on intuitive awakening, personal growth, creativity, and transformational leadership, including the New York Times bestseller, The Answer is Simple. Sonia Choquette, welcome to the show. What a treat for us all to have you here. How are you?
I'm delighted to be with you. Thank you so much. Talking about my favorite subject on the planet.
Mine too. So we're in sync already, and I know that everyone that's listening to the call will agree. Intuition's such a big subject, but let's jump right into it. I think it's safe to say that we're way beyond the woo-woo factor about intuition and psychic ability in general. We all have it, but most of us don't use it. But it's interesting, even science is slowly beginning to admit that we're much that there's much more to the physical world, the material world, and more to us than we thought we were. But what I love about you, Sonia, is that you explain this in such simple and uncomplicated terms. Can you give us a summary of what the sixth sense is?
Sure, with pleasure. We'll start by saying that your sixth sense is the divine spark of intelligence that first settles into your heart, which is the first organ of your body to develop. It is a lifeline to the cosmos. It is a lifeline to the quantum field. It is the impulse that helps connect you with all resources that you need in order to live your most empowered life. So what I love so much about the sixth sense, and my great new metaphor is it's your personal internet.
Oh, that's interesting.
We couldn't have actually developed the internet if we didn't have some kind of model. Some kind of intrinsic understanding that we can be connected to more than what is locally right in front of us.
That makes sense.
So the heart wisdom of you is an intelligence that actually precedes your brain. It is a profound, informing intelligence that works on a number of levels. First, it works on connecting you to information in this realm. So you can actually have telepathic crossovers. This is how two people discovered and argued for quite a time over who discovered the AIDS virus, an American or a Frenchman, because they both did.
Right. I've heard that before.
And they were actually telepathically sharing information.
Wow.
So that's an example of that. We also have souls that have access to far more than our local brain consciously contains. And that's why when all of a sudden you start a new project and you just know how to do it.
Right.
Get on the ski slopes, I know how to ski. I start renovating a house, all of a sudden I'm designing stained glass windows.
Right.
How do I know? I don't really know.
Yeah, wow.
Because we access the quantum field.
This is called the non-local mind, is it not?
Exactly. But we also have a spirit. And that knowing is the knowing that says, this isn't right for me. Or this is who I really am. This is the spirit that Steve Jobs had that said, I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Right.
I don't care how dismissed I am. That the fellow, I think his name is Christensen, who says, I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to transplant this heart into this body. Or the one that said, I think I'm going to fly a rocket to the moon. And now Mars. There is that wisdom. So it is an exponential knowing. And here's the good news. It's not selective to certain individuals. It's a light switch in your heart space and that you recognize as intelligent. And those who turn that switch on and give it value are the ones that are being informed at the highest and actually most current level of knowing. Anybody who dismisses your intuition can join the club of people who said the earth was flat. We've progressed beyond the argument of, is this legitimate knowing? There's way too much evidence.
That's right. That's what we were saying.
Now the new question is, I'm on board.
Yeah.
How can I make it work for me?
Right. Well, you said something key. You said those that decide to turn the light switch on, and this is what the comment that I wanted to make, Sonia. We know that many indigenous cultures relied heavily, if not solely, on their intuition to navigate everyday life. And they didn't question, does this exist? Does intuition exist? They just wanted to understand how they could utilize this ability more to simply live. So what happened to modern man to turn us away from this natural ability? Why aren't all of us switching this light switch on?
Two things happened. One, the first wave of what happened was in the Middle Ages when the powers that be were primarily the church, said we couldn't be that empowered. So we were basically forbidden to listen to our internal intelligence, and we were trained and taught that was sacrilege, because we were to be subservient and obedient to the external patriarchal figures.
Agreed.
The second wave was the wave of intellectualism that began to elevate, to completely sublimate the internal wisdom and put our intellectual intelligence as the superior form of knowing. So that's when science came in to be the new God. And it further eradicated any sort of internal intelligence as a valid way of knowing. And that's the one that many people are still suffering in the hangover.
No question about that.
That's stuck in your head. And I even say to people like that, that is not modern science.
Right.
That is Middle Ages science.
It certainly is.
That is not current information. But, I have clients all the time that just suffer the hamster wheel of trying to, quote unquote, figure it out. And how do I know? And if I don't know how I know, or if I don't have some book telling me that I can know this, then I can't know this.
Yeah.
So we have to cure ourselves of this horrific disempowerment and completely limited perception of the Middle Ages. We have evolved.
Right.
Our inventions have evolved. Our greatest creators of modern times have moved past, but we're still hanging on to these anxieties and very outmoded and archaic belief systems.
Yeah.
That have been perpetuated upon us that say that we can't be that intelligent.
Yeah.
And we are.
And we certainly are. And it does take some time when you are, because we are habitual creatures. If we're constantly being fed throughout generations, we're really born into this indoctrination of thinking that the left brain is really king. It's going to take some unraveling. And here's another point I want to bring up about your book, The Answer is Simple. And I love the title of that book, because I think it says it all. We tend to think of getting answers to questions as this long, slogging, difficult process. And what you're saying is, it's not that, if we learn to engage the place where the answers truly lie, which is beyond the five senses, it is not that difficult. The answer is simple, right? And isn't that connected to what we're
It's
talking
simple
about?
and it's available in a simple way. It's like I said earlier, turn on the heart switch, the light switch of your heart,
Of your
and
heart.
it's like turning a light on in a dark room.